Hi, welcome to a calculator tutorial from Equator. This is a full video manual for TI-34 Multiview scientific calculator. A larger screen, click on this area of the player. You will see the menu when you touch it, so you can see all the chapters and touch to move to that section of the video. The calculator comes in a package like this, and it is allowed in SAT, ACT and AP testing system. It comes with full printed instruction manual, warranty card, some information, and hard quick reference sheet. The calculator also comes with this cover, so you can insert it at the bottom while using, and insert it this way to protect the numbers while carrying it in your backpack and protect the screen. To turn on the calculator, we press this on button at the bottom. The calculator is turned on, the cursor is blinking. To turn it off, we press second function and on. Now there is off available, press second and off. The calculator will be turned off. Pay attention that off is just above the on button and we can see it. If there is no activity, the calculator will turn off in 5 minutes. Let me turn it on. To change the contrast of the screen, we press second function and plus. This is increasing it. As you can see, the screen contrast has increased significantly. And to reduce it, press second function and minus. And now the text is viewable. This calculator can display 4 lines and 16 characters in each line. When you operate certain functions of the calculator, it has indicator on the screen. If you press second function key, you will see second on the screen. If you have the unit set or to radian or degree, you will see it like this. If you select scientific notation or functions, you will see SCI. If you are working with a data editor, list 1, 2, or 3, it's shown like this. And if you see this symbol, it means operation is being performed, so please wait. If you see these 2 arrows on the screen, it means there are data available above this screen or below this screen. And the most important key is this 4-way key, which we can scroll the screen, go up and down by line, and also left and right select each character, or select certain options which we are going to see. This calculator does not have this equal sign. Instead, they use the word enter, which is equivalent to equal sign or execute that you might have seen in other calculators. Then we have clear button. This clear will clear the single line or the whole screen. And we have a delete button. If you press it, it will remove last character. This is the same as backspace in your computer. And second function has a special feature that any key you see a white text above it will be activated when you press second function. For example, this off is available only if I press second function, otherwise this will be on button. And the same way, this button is to the power, but if I press second function, it will be x root of some number. We have another button which we will use a lot, is this toggle answer. This will toggle answer from decimal to other format that is available. And when we press this mode button on the screen, we have this option. The first line is for the unit, and this is for the normal scientific floating value, which I'm going to explain one by one. But the selection shows on the left as a dark color, and it's now blinking. We are at this location. If I go down, now it's in normal, and in this line, float. In this line now, math print is selected, not classic. Now we have an arrow that shows that we have another screen, and here these are the two options for the fraction, and this is a manual simplification and auto simplification. Now if I go up, this value is for angle unit, degree or grad, and we don't have gradients. There is a T, I believe. So there is no gradients in this calculator. You cannot work with that. It's missing. And the next line is normal or scientific. It's set the display result, something like this. But if you go to SCI, I'm pressing mode, come down, normal, go to the right, and now press enter. Now you see the highlight moved, and we are in scientific mode. And this will show with as a power of 10, and if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, simply press enter, the value is displayed like this. Or sometimes it will be displayed e to the power 3, e to the power of something. So e means also exponent, that means times 10 to the power. Now let's change it back, mode and down, and let's move. Now the cursor is in here, just press enter. The selection went there, and it's back to normal. Float is setting the number of decimal values that we can display. For example, 1 divided by 7923, and enter, we see the result like this. But if we select for floating point, press mode, come down and go to 4, now press enter. Now we have selected 4 decimal, 4 floating point or 4 decimal values, 1, and then if we do 1 divided by 7923, enter. Now before the result was like that, and now it's like this. And as you can see now, 126,215. So from 2 and beyond, everything has been rounded and removed. How do we know it's rounded? Let's enter 0.2222 and 5. Now 4 digit is up to here, and if I press enter, you will see that 5 have been added because it's above 5 or equal, so it has been rounded to 3. Now if I press, if you are in math print mode, we could enter something like it is in math print mode. Let's switch back to normal float, not 4 digits, 4 decimal values. So I'm pressing clear, everything will be clear. 3, this is a fraction over 5, and enter. So I can enter it like that, and the result is shown like that. And if I go to classic mode, let's go to mode, come down to classic and press enter. Now from math print we went to classic, clear to exit. Let's do 3 over 5 and enter. Now the result, we enter the value like this with a slash, not a proper fraction, and the answer is shown like that. But you can toggle the result using this button as 0.6, for example. And if I go, and this second screen shows determines the fraction result, how it's displayed. Capital N over D is a mixed numbers or mixed fraction. This is improper fraction or simple fraction. Now this manual simplification determines if the fraction result is simplified or not. It allows step-by-step result with this arrow on the screen next to it. We are going to see it. And auto simp means a calculator automatically simplifies. In classic mode, when you enter 2pi, you will see like this, and the other values are like that. But for math print, you will see actual math print, which we are going to see multiple examples, so do not worry. 4-way key is to scroll up and down or select something. Let's press 3 plus 5 and enter, and 8 plus 2 and enter, and 4 times 7 and enter, and 12 minus 3, enter. Now if I go up, this is selected. If I go once more, it goes to the left. Now it goes to the right, up and left, right, up and left. This way you can select anything. If you want to bring, let's say, then this 10 or result, whatever it is, to your calculation, press enter, it's available, and you can do something with it or change it, let's say times 9. But if you want to bring an expression, go up, find the expression, let's say 8 plus 2. This is simple, but you might bring very complex expression, press enter, it's coming here, so you can either work with it or change it. Now the second function for this tutorial will be displayed inside the parentheses and with a blue background, because this is also dark blue and I use this color, and this means second function. So I do not mention, for example, if you look at this button here, this button, you need second function and 1 over x to activate it. So I will not mention this key. And the other keys will be displayed as green. For example, we have a store button in here, that's also green. Then we will have all these dark blue. I'm going to show it the same way, and these white numbers will be displayed as white. Now we have something called last answer. If I do 3 plus 5, enter, you see 8 here, and if I press, as soon as I press one of these symbols like multiply, it says ans, multiply, let's say by 2, and in this case the answer is the 8 that was there. So if I press equal, it becomes 16. So that 8 is coming automatically and it has been stored in this answer. Now if I press clear and second function ans, now this has 16 already. I can press equal to see it, or press second function answer and do something, let's say times 100, and it will be available. So this is very handy in many applications that you need to use the result of previous calculation in your next calculation. Now let's have a look at the orders of operation with this calculator. The calculator first evaluates the parentheses, whatever is inside it, and then the function that needs to be closed, like sine, log, rectangular and polar. Then it will evaluate fractions like this or like this, and then the functions entered after the arguments such as x squared and angle unit modifier, etc. Then it will evaluate exponents and roots like this. And number 5, the negation will be evaluated. Number 7, permutation and combination is evaluated. And then step 8, multiplication and implied multiplication and division is evaluated. Number 9, addition and subtraction is evaluated. Number 10, fraction conversion, degree, minute, and second are evaluated. And number 11, when you press enter, it completes all operation and closes all open parentheses. Now let's have a look at the clearing and correcting information or expression on the screen. When we press clear button, it clears the error and lines. And if you press it twice, it clears the display times 8. So now this is unclear. You see syntax error. If I press clear, it brings you back to the exact location where the error occurred. Now you have a chance to correct it. Let's say you want to delete it and press enter, it works fine. The button delete deletes one character at a time. Let's say 8 minus 98, and you want to change it to 90. This way you can correct it. The insert is at the top. It will allow you to insert something at the character where the cursor is. For example, 8 minus 90, and you want to say 8 minus 90 plus 5. Now let's go up and up one more time. We are going up. It's selected, press enter. The value is here. We can edit it. go to the left, and now if I press anything, the 90 will be deleted. But if you press insert second function, this button, I can click parenthesis, and after 90, let's say plus 10, and close it. So the same expression, I simplified it, but it could be much complex. I simplified it, it could be much complex expression, so you can do the correction or insert. Now, if you press second function and clear vars, it clears the variable which we are going to talk about, x, y, z, t, a, b, and c. It clears them. If you press second function and reset, let's do it together. Second function and reset. It says reset, yes, no. Press 2, yes, and it clears everything, including the memory. It sets everything back to default. Now, to exit from the screen, press clear. Now, the default is all back in the same way it came from manufacturer. Now, let's see how we can do math operation with this calculator. If you want to do 3 divided by 5, 3 over 5, we press it like that, press enter, it will be evaluated. If you want to toggle the value, just toggle the result, it is shown like that. This is in math print mode because we just resetted the calculator. If you want to do this expression, 4 over 3, with the arrow, you go to the right, and then plus 1 over 2 and enter. This is the expression. This result depends on, if I go on mode, don't do it, just look. It depends on this. If I had selected this simple fraction, clear, and if I press it equal, you see the result before was like that with a mixed fraction. Now it shows in this format. So let's go back to mode, and I'm selecting the same format. So we can do that. And if you want to do mixed fraction like this, so we can do 5, and this time we press this button, and then automatically the cursor moves to the numerator, so we can enter 4, and then press the arrow down. Here we could also go to the right, 3, and enter. Now the result is displayed. You can toggle it if you want. Now let's do 3 over 5 and enter. Now this time we want to use this option, float and decimal, which is the same as the toggle, but the difference is that we can use this inside our expression. This is a function, and this is just a button for you. You cannot use this in the calculation, but we can use this feature. Now let's use second function f and d. So now it says take this and use the float and decimal conversion. It has 2 arrows, which means whichever is possible, it will be done. Now it turned it to this. If I press this again, now if I press 0.6 and second function f and d, now it will convert it to fraction for sure. And now the arrow that I was talking before is here. We are going to talk about it later in this tutorial. Now we are in, let's go to classic mode. Come down, classic, and press enter, clear, and exit. Now if we do 3 over 5, enter, it is shown as slash with 3 over 5. And if I press toggle, then we see it as 0.6, but it shows that this has happened. And now if you do the same thing, 3 over 5, enter, second function f and d, now we get it like this. So I wanted to show you the difference. Now LCM is a least common multiple. Let's find out the least common multiple, or LCM, of 30 and 84. So press math, and here we have LCM, GCD, and factorial, and some other stuff. So LCM is 1. Now it shows LCM. So we enter 30, and then we need to enter comma. For the comma, we press second function on this button, second function, comma, and then 84. We can close it or leave it open. The result is displayed. If you are doing other calculations, you must close it to avoid error. Now let's say you want to close it. I'm pressing go up, and up, enter, it's here, close, and then let's say times 500 you want it to do. So you must do it like that. Now GCD is greatest common divisor, and you want to find the between the two values. Press math, this time press 2, and select GCD is already there. So 25, shift, comma, and then 30, and let's close it, press enter, that's greatest common divisor. Cube value, it adds a power of 3 like this. Let's say you want to do 5 cubed, 5, math, and then 3, so it brings 5 cubed easily. We could do 5, this button, and 3. It will work the same, but you need to put parentheses. Cube root, if you need cube root of a number, it's available because this is the root, this is x root or anything. This could be used, but cube is directly another option that is available. Let's say math, and then go down one more, which is number 4. So you don't have to go down. Even on this screen, just press 4, it goes to that. It seems we are in classic mode. Let's see mode. Yes, we are in classic. Let's go back to math print and clear the screen. Math, and then 4. This is cube root of 216. Enter. That's the answer. ABS gets the absolute value of n. If you need magnitude or absolute value, you need to put it inside the bar. To access that, we press math, and now we are moving to the, this was math, this is number. We come here, 1 is absolute, and here we enter minus. For the minus, we press this minus 33, for example, and we get the absolute value. And round n and digit rounds n to a specific number of digits. For example, rounding 8.346 to 2 digits. Now let's press math, go to number, and then number 2, round, and 8.346, and then second function, comma, 2 digits. Close it. Now it has been rounded to 2 digits. You see it's 5 because 4, 6. 6 is rounded. 6, 4 have been rounded because of the 6. And now if you do 1, math, number, and then 2, 8.346, second function, comma, 1. Now it is not rounded because this is 4, it's less than 5, so 83 is displayed. Now we have something called I part, which means integer part. If you have a number something like this, it will return the integer. If you have a number like this, it will return the integer part of it. Let's print math, go to the number, and I part, number 3, here, 8.34, close it and enter, it will give you the integer part. The same way we have float part or f part, math, num, and 4, or just go down, let me show you 4, and this time it says 4 f part, 8.34, and enter. You see I part gives you the integer part, f gives you the float part, which is very useful in many applications because you want to extract or get the integer or float part of a number. We have a function called minimum, which returns the minimum of 2 values of n1 and n2. Math, go to the right, and then scroll down, minimum, number 5. And in this case, we want to do between 32 and 44. 23, shift, comma, and 44. Enter, it tells you which one is the minimum. And for maximum, this is the same thing. Let's say we want to edit this. So for sake of learning, go up and up, enter. We don't want to change this, just change the last thing. Come to the end, and then math, number, select max, enter, it has been changed, and press enter, we get the maximum. Remainder is a feature that returns the remainder of resulting from division in 1 by n2. Let's press math, number. This time it's 7, it's way below. Let's just press 7, remainder. So we type 16, shift, comma, and 5. If I press enter, it gives you 1. So what this is 16 divided by 5 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15. 1 is remainder. So it does the calculation based on the whole number. And in many subjects, it's called modulus or modulo. Very useful. Integer divide is another feature which divides a value and stores it in an answer value, the integer portion of it. Let's say you want to do 9 second function, and then this division has integer division. N division 2. Now if you divide 9 by 2, in terms of whole number, it will be 4 times 2, 8, so 1 is remaining. Now it shows 4 and 1. But this 4 has been stored in the answer. Clear? Second function answer. If I press equal, it's available, and you can use it in your calculation as I've shown before. Now there is a problem. How many hours, minutes, and seconds are there in 17,589 seconds? 17,589 second function integer division by 60. So press enter, and we got this value, and remainder is 9. Now let's do second function and answer. We want to get this second function answer. The value is here, and let's get this and divide it by 60. Second function integer divide. Now second function integer divide, and $60, we got 4 and 53. Now what we learn is that if I scroll up, it shows that 17,589 seconds equals to 4 hours, 53 minutes, and 9 seconds. This 9 was here, the remainder. Now let's see how we can use fractions feature of this calculator. The fraction keys, or keys that belong to fractions, or this key, that key that you see, simple fraction, mixed fraction, second function, nd, und, and here, which are the second function of this key, and then f and d. So 4 keys are here, 2 regular key, 2 with a second function. If we go to classic mode, come down, classic, enter, clear. Now let's simplify 3 over 4 plus 1. So 3 over 4 plus 1, this button, 7 over 12. As you can see, it's shown totally in different way, and enter. Now you see the arrow there, which means we can simplify it further, but we can put the condition. For example, simplify by factor of 2. So very useful feature, and this is a simp. We can put simp, automatically brings the last result here, simp, and the factor 2. Now it has simplified it. 12 became 6, 4 became 2, but you can do further. So press, so you can do more, and here simp and then 2, enter. It has been further simplified, but there is no arrow. This is the end of it. And if we do 9 over 2, enter. Now if we do 9 over 2, second function f and d, this means divided and converted to fraction or decimal based on the availability. It converted it to decimal. For this button, and then 1 over 2, second function f and d, enter. It has been simplified like that as well. Now let's go back to math print mode, come down, go to math print, enter, clear to exit. Now let's simplify this one. 3/4. Now we need to press arrow, plus 1, and then 7/7. Go to the right, it comes to the bottom, or press the bottom, 7/12, and enter. Now again it shows the arrow. Now simplify 2, enter. It has been simplified. It shows that we can do more, and simplify 2, and it has been simplified further. There is no arrow. That's the end of it. I can press toggle to toggle the result. 9/2, 9/2, and go to the right. Here you must go to the right, otherwise you get error. So you do that, and then to this feature, second function f and d, enter. It is simplified like that. The same way 4, and then 1, come down over 2 to the right, second function f and d, it is simplified like that. Now if you want to do this, clear, press this button, clear, and at the top 5 plus 3 plus 7 with the arrow, come down, and 2. There is no arrow to simplify it, and press S and D to get the decimal value. Now let's try to do this. Clear, fraction, -5, press this -5, and then plus, and then square root, 5 squared, 5, we press this squared, plus. The beauty of this button is that you don't need to press anything to exit from the power. It automatically exits. And then minus, I use this -4, open parenthesis, 6, close parenthesis, and then with the arrow go to the right, it comes to the bottom, and then 2, open parenthesis, let's say 1, this is just an example. Press enter, it says syntax error, and press clear, it will take you to where. So we have here plus and minus. Let's go to plus, delete. And now this is the answer. Now let's do percentage calculation with this calculator. So there are 3 main ways that a percentage question will be asked. First one, so the first would be, what is the 20% of 1,500? So you type 20%, this is a button, times 1,500, and enter. This is the answer. We got 300. Now example number 2 is a different way. It says 300 is what percent of 1,500? We already know 300 is what percent? We know it's 20%, but let's see how we can do it. So 300 times 100, 100 is because the percent is based on 100. Divided by 1,500, and we got 20. Now the third way would be, we should have 1,500 as the answer. So now what would be the question? It would be 20% of what value is 300. So we enter 300 times 100 divided by 20, and it gives you 1,500. Now, there are 2 other examples that I have to give you because it's very useful in business. Let's say you want to calculate 17% tax of 3,000. Let's say you are working in a store or sales or whatever. So what we do is we calculate the tax for the 3,000, which we know 17% times 3,000, and then we add it to the 3,000. So let's type 3,000 plus 17% times 3,000. So this is the tax, 17%, and then plus the actual value, which have been increased to this number. Example number 5 is Now you want to give 30% discount to 500. The same way, we calculate the 30% of 500 and subtract it from the actual 500. So 500 minus 30% times 500, which has been reduced to 350. Now let's do some power, roots, and inverse expressions. If you want to do 5 square, we press this button, and we can do it also 5 with this button, and 2. You can do it like that. If you want to do something like this, an expression, press square root, 3 squared, 3 squared, and then plus 2 to the 4, 2 to the power 4, and enter. That's the answer. 1/5 we know is the same as equal 5 to the power minus 1. If you want to do 1/200, for example, you type 200 and we use this 1/x, second function x, it automatically brings it at the denominator. And if you want to toggle the result, this is the answer. If you want to work with pi, 2 and then pi is a dedicated button, enter, that's 2 pi, toggle it to see the decimal. In your calculations, we use this many digits, this many decimal places, but on the screen you will see less, which means 2654, 2653. This has been rounded on the screen, but in calculation this is used, so keep that in mind. Now there is an example for pi. What is the area of the circle with radius 12 centimeter? So the formula for area is, the area of a circle is pi r squared, and we know r is 12. So we do pi and then 12 squared. You don't need to put even multiplication. So you get 144 pi, or toggle the answer to get it. So for the power, roots, and inverse, let's say you want to do 5 squared plus 4 to the power 2 plus 1. You don't need to put parentheses. That is okay. If you need 10 to the power minus 2, so we put 10, this button, and then for the minus we must use this one, minus and 2, and enter. That's the answer if you want to toggle it. 6th root of 64, for example. So for that we press 6, second function root, it says 6th root, and then 64 equal, that's the answer. Now let's do some angle conversion between degree and radian. We have an angle menu, second function, an angle. We will see DMS, which refers to degree, minute, and second. And then we have RP, rectangular and polar conversion. To convert to a specific unit, the calculator must be in the target unit. This is example number 1. And we can specify the unit by pressing mode, and here it's in radian. I can go to the right, press, and it is selected. Press clear to exit, for example. And let's convert 45 degrees to radian. First we have to be in radian, which we already did, radian. If not, go to the right and enter, exit, and type 45, second function angle, and 1 is a degree. Because we already have selected radian here, if I press it, we will get the answer. It's pi/4. If you want to toggle the answer to see a decimal value, you can do that. Example number 2, convert 30 radians to degree. Now the target unit is degree. We will select degree by pressing mode, go to the left, it's already selected, just press enter, degree is selected, clear to exit. Now we want to convert 30 degrees, 30 and second function angle, and this time go down, number 4 is radian. When you press 4, R appears, which means 30 radian, and the unit to be converted is degree. Press enter, and that is the angle. Now let's have a look at this degree, minute, and second. It will be represented this way, and there will be degree. For minute, we have 1 apostrophe. For second, it's double quote or double apostrophe. Now, to convert this to decimal, we can type 5, second function angle, degree, that's the first one, and then 18, second function math, and 2 is minute, and then 3 is degree, 35, second function math, and 3. And 3 is the second. So press equal. We have converted it to a value in decimal value. Now let's solve this problem. Two adjacent angles measure 25 minutes and 36 seconds. And this is one angle, and the second one is 7 degrees, 1 minute and 20 seconds respectively. Add two angles, round the result into two decimal places. Now let's see, we want to add one angle to the other angle, and because this is missing the degree, we have to enter 0. So I'm starting, so that's very important, I'm starting with 0 second function angle, 0 second function angle 1 degree, 25 second function angle 2, and then 36 second function angle 3. Now we added, now let's add plus, and then the second portion 7, 11, 20. So 7 degree, that's 1, 11 second degree, 2, that's minute, and then 20 second function angle, and 3. So everything is there, press equal sign, and that is the answer. Now let's do some polar and rectangular conversion. We have polar, and also for rectangular, in some books or instructors prefer to call it Cartesian. We can use second function and angle. This time we can press arrow, and all the options are available. And here it says rectangular to polar, get r, rectangular to polar, get theta, rectangular polar to rectangular, get x, and if I go down, get y. And here is our example. We have r equals 6, this magnitude, and theta is 37 degrees. We want to find x and y. X and y refers to the tip of this vector. This is a y value and this is x value, so we want to find the coordinate of this point. Now, clear. If it's not clear, we just press clear. Second function angle, move to the right, and then 3. Because it's polar to rectangular, we want to get x. 3. Now we enter 6, and then comma 37. Second function comma and 37, and enter. We got the answer. This one says, this says get x, and this is the x value. This one says, this says get x, and this is the x value. Now to get y, press second function angle, go to the right, and then number 4 at the bottom. You can scroll down, we just press 4. So this means from rectangular, polar to rectangular, get me y. Now we have to enter the same value, 6, shift, comma, 37, and enter. That is x, and this is the y value that we got. Now this is example 2. We have x and y, and we want to get theta and r. For x and y, y is -5, x is 4 for this point. Now we can do clear here now. Second function angle, go to the right, and then 1. This says rectangular to polar, get r. Now enter the value 4, and then comma -5. 4, second shift, second function comma. For minus, we press this button, -5. That gives us the magnitude. And we get r second function angle, go to the right. In this case we want theta 2, so enter 4 shift comma minus 5, the same as before. And now if I press enter, the result is degree, minus 51.34 degree. And this depends on the unit that you set here. If this is radian, the result will be radian, so keep that in mind. If you want to change it, press mode, go to the right and press enter. And now if I press enter, the answer is minus 0.9 radian. Let's change it back, and degree, enter, clear, and enter again. So this is now correct value. So we got the theta or angle. And if we look here, because the value for r was good, for the theta it must be minus because it's below the x-axis, which is correct. Now example number 3, we have r and theta 6 and 50, and because that 50 degrees is for this theta, we have to understand that from first quadrant we have 90 degrees and then 90 and then 50. So we have to add them together to get the x and y. Now I'm pressing clear. Let's enter it. Clear, second function math, go to the right, and for x press 3, and we want to get x from polar to rectangular. 6 shift comma, I'm gonna enter 230 as a mathematical expression, 90 plus 50, close, and we got 0.386. This is the answer. And to get y, second function math, to the right, now 4, now it says from polar to rectangular, give me y. We can enter the same value, 6 shift comma, this time I'm going to enter 230 and minus 4.6 is the answer. We got y and then we got x. Now for the values, because x is minus 3, which is correct, it's negative, and y is also minus 4.5, our answer is correct. Now let's have a look at the trigonometric functions of this calculator. If you want to do cosine of 45, now to do that we press second function and trig. Trig is the second function of pi. Now we can select sine and then 45. You don't need to enter the degree because it's already a degree, so it will be converted back to degree if it is. So we got 0.71. And the answer, if you want to include the angle the same way, second function trig, 2 cosine, 8.3, and this time we want to get second function angle and degree. So explicitly we are entering the degree. The answer is the same, but it will help if you are confused, just explicitly enter the value. Now pi over 2 radian, sine pi over 2 radian, press second function trig, 1 is sine, and then pi over 2, come to the right, and let's put radian here, second function angle, and then for radian, let's see, number 4, radian, that means pi over 2 radian, and the answer is 1. You see 2 decimal places, this is due to the float point, which we forgot to change, mode, it's 2, come down to float, enter, clear, and press enter again, the answer is 1. Now, if inverse is used to find the angle theta, this theta, but we must have the sine or cosine or tangent of the theta. For example, we have sine of theta is equal 0.8. What is that theta? So we can use sine inverse to find that. To do that, we press second function trig, and number 4 sine inverse 0.8, close, and that's the value, and it says rounded to 2 decimal places, mode, go to float, 2, enter, clear, just press enter again, it will be evaluated, and the result is rounded to 2 decimal places. And the instruction is here. The same way for cosine of cosine of an angle is minus 0.5. Second function trig, so that will be 5 minus inverse cosine, and then for minus we press this button and then 0.5, enter, and that's the angle with 2 decimal places. If it was not, let's change it back to float, for float, and enter. So that's 120, and that is 120 degrees. Now let's have a look at logarithm and exponential functions. Now to take log of 45, press second function and log. This P or B is log, and here we can select either log or base 5 to the power of something. Number 1, that is log 45. This is the answer. By default, when you do log of 45, this is the assumed to be empty, and this is base 10. So this is the same as log base 10 of 45. And if you want to do log base 5 of 200, sorry, TI-34 can't do it. You have to get different calculator. Now exponential, let's say 10 to the power 5 by default. There is a 10 available, second function and log, and 2. So this is 10. 10 is there already, 5, and that's the answer. If you want to do ln of 5 times 2, second function, go to the right, that's ln. ln is natural logarithm, or in French, a logarithm natural. So I'm pressing 1, and then 5 close times 2, and that is the answer. 17 to the power log of 5, 17 to the power, 17 to the power, this button, and then second function log 1, and here 5, close it, and that is the answer. If you need exponential, let's say 10 to the power 2, 10 to the power 2. If you need exponential of Euler number to 11, for example, second function log, now go to the right and come to number 2. It automatically puts it at the exponent, so we can enter 11. This has evaluated Euler number with a power 11. But if you need just Euler number, just put it with the exponent 1, second function log to the right, and then 2. Just enter here 1. This is Euler number if you want to use it in your calculations. Let's have a look at the stored operation, or OP. This calculator has 2 buttons here, OP1, OP2, and at the bottom it has setup OP1, setup OP2. TI-34 can store 2 operations, and you can recall them easily. You can enter number, operations, or menu. The operations always come after the value you have on the screen. So this is important. Let's set up op1, second function. The op with the second function is set up. Now we want to multiply by 2 plus 3 and enter. Now this has been set up, clear. To use it, let's say you want to use 6 with the op1. As soon as I put it, 6 times 2, 12 plus 3, 15. For this, you don't need to press the enter button. Now let's set up op2, second function op2, and just say times 10, whatever is the value, times 10. Clear to exit. To use it, 5 op2, 5 times 2 is 10. Now this shows 50. Now let's solve this problem. It says Harry's father will pay him $15 per week if he helps out a few hours at his family's grocery store. Harry would like to save all he earns to buy several of his favorite books and video games. He estimates that he will need to earn $240 to buy everything he would like to have. Create a table of Harry's weekly earnings to see how his saving will grow. How many weeks will Harry need to work to save enough money for his purchases, So first, let's set it up as an op1. Press second function op1, press clear to clear it, and then plus 15. That is the number that he is earning. Press equal or enter to exit. Now, clear Now let's do 0 and op1. So if I press op1 again, it shows in2. In second week he will earn 30. We will press this op1 until we see 240 here. So I'm not worried to count it because it's counting it for me. 150 and 60 and 95 to 10 and 225 to 40. So in 16 weeks, each table line shows Harry's weekly earning as it grows. From the table, we can read that Harry will have to work 16 weeks to earn $240. Now let's have a look at the memory and stored variables. This calculator has X, Y, Z, T, A, B, C independent variables that you can store real number or expression that results to real number. Pressing this button here multiple times brings up the memory variable. If I press it, you will see X and then Y, Z, T, A, B, C, and it goes back to X. Pressing second function will bring the recall with this button. Second function, recall, it shows all the variable with their values. 1, 2, 3, X, Y, Z, and the arrow shows we have more, T, A, B, and C, so they're all at the moment 0. Let's store 3, 4, 5 into X, so 3, 4, 5, and then store. This button is for storing, and then after that we select the X. If I press it once, that's X, enter, it has been stored. If you want to store 2 times 5 into T, then 2 times 5, stores this button, press it until you see T, and enter. Now this has been stored into T. And 7 times cosine of 45 into A, 7 times cosine of 45, second function, and then trig 2 cosine 45, close it, and then store 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is A, and enter. Now this has been stored. To recall X, we press second function and recall. This one will give us all the values. One by one we can see them. But there is a shorter way. If I press all clear, just press this button X and enter, you get the value automatically. But you don't know the value for the other one, even for this one. So this will not give you a pre-understanding. But with the recall, you can see all the values prior to executing it. Now recall and use T in your calculation 5 times, and we can use second function recall and T 4. Or you can use this way 5 and then A, B, C, D until T, 5T, evaluate it. Very simple. Now here is a problem using memory. In a gravel quarry, 2 new excavations have been opened. The first one measures 340 meters by 610 meters, something like this, and we call this excavation X. The depth is not given, it's just length and width. And for the second one, Y, 340 by 610 meters, again, depth is not given. What volume of the gravel does the company need to extract from each excavation to reach the depth of 150 meters to reach 230 meters? This is for each. So now for this, we want to find out at 150 and at 200 and 210 how much cubic square meter, because this is meter, the value will be cubic square meter gravel will be excavated, and for this dimension also. Now for X and Y we will do it. For X, for dimension of X, now store 2 dimension of X in a variable X. This is capital X, this is small x. So 350 times 560, and then store, press X, and that's enough. So this is the 2 dimension. We just need to add 3 dimension to get it. And now for the y, the first one 340 and 610, 340 times 610, store once, twice, it's y. Calculate volume of x for 150 meter. This was, so we multiply 150 times this, because this is length and width. If you add one more dimension, it will give you the volume. So we do 150 times this button and x, 1. So that's 29.4 million cubic meter. You could also use recall, which I just shown you. And the same way for the x, let's do 210 x, and that is 41.16 million cubic meter. Now let's do for the y, 210 to 10 once, twice, that is y, and then 150 once, twice. So we got all the values we mentioned for the x. For the y, we get 34.5 million cubic meter if we go to 210, and if we go to 150 meter, it will be 31.11 million cubic meter. And as I mentioned, this is a simpler way to do it. Now let's have a look at the data and editor list. Data button, if I press it, let you enter data in up to 3 lists, L1, L2, and L3. Each can contain up to 42 items. And if you press second function and up, it will take you to the top. Second function and down will take you to the bottom. Which the list that you have here, it will accept F and D and simple and F and D and simplification button and this fraction feature. Now example 1, entering these data into L1. So we want to enter into L1, clear, I'm in data, 1 over 4, and then we have to press enter or arrow, this value is transferred, and 2 over 4 down, and 3 over 4 and down. So we have and 4 over 4 and down. So all of these have been entered. Now using this F and D to convert data from L1 as a decimal into L2. We want to fill up this column with decimal value of these fractions. Now with the arrow, go to the right side. Now we are at the top. Now press data and select conversion. So this was very important, and we press 1, add, edit. Now we see now L2. Before it was not there because we did this procedure to bring that. Now we press data, and then now we see the list. 1, we want to get L1, and then use this function in front of it. So second function and this. So this says L2 is equal L1 converted to F and D, float and decimal. And as soon as I press enter, the value has been evaluated and it has been filled up the whole column. So we used a simple way to convert all the values from L1 to decimal and display them on L2. Now here is example 2. Find the decimal representation of 1 over 9, 2 over 9, and 3 over 9. From this pattern, can you predict the decimal representation of 7 over 9? We want to enter these data into L1, clear data twice. So data and then data and 4, we cleared it. And then 1 over 9, and then 2 over 9, and then 3 over 9. After pressing down, go to the right. Now we are in this column. Now we press data, go to conversion, 1, edit. Now we say get this value. To get it, after you see L2 here, we press data and then 1, and then we will convert it second function with this button and enter. Now you see the value. 1 over 9 is 0.111, 2 over 9 is 0.222, 3 is 0.33. So from this, now input more values like 5 over 9. Let's go to the left side, and in the empty spot, let's enter 5 over 9. So this must be 0.55. And if I enter, so we know from 7 over 9 from this pattern, it should be 0.77. So 7 over 9, enter. It shows 0.777, and it has been rounded to 8 because we can display only 4 decimal values, and the next digit was 7, so it has been rounded. Now let's do some statistics calculations and learn how we can use this calculator. For statistics, we press second function and stat here, and on the screen we see 1 variable, 2 variable, and we will see 3 stat vars. At the moment they are not available. They will appear only if the calculation is done, which we are going to learn. So let's clear our data, and then data again, 4. This will clear all the tables. And this is just for example to show you. Let's enter these data as a variable 1 into L1. So 45 down, 55, 55, 55, and then done. Press second function, quit. Now let's do some calculation. Press second function stat and select 1. And then in here we say which data, L1, and it says frequency of the data 1 because nothing is there, it's repeated only once. So we go down, and in here press enter. And in here now we see all the variables that are available, which I'm going to explain them one by one. So n is number of x or xy pair data points. X bar, y bar is the mean of all x or y values. This is sample standard deviation of x and y. And if you see this symbol, population is standard deviation of x or y. And these are sum of all x or y values, sum of all x squared or y squared values, sum of x, y for all xy pairs. A is linear regression slope or coefficient of our first variable. B is linear regression or y-intercept. This is for ax squared plus bx plus c. So this is B, our regression of y-intercept, and R is correlation coefficient. In 2 variable uses A and B to calculate predicted x value when input a y value. Is in 2 variable uses A and B to calculate predicted y value when input an x value. Statistics example 1. We want to enter this value. The value is already in the memory. Find the mean of these values. If they are not there, let's just press clear data and data 4. I cleared it and we are already there. Just type 4, 5, enter, 5, 5, enter, 5, 5, enter, 5, 5, enter. So 4 values. And second function, statistics, and 1, and then go down, calculation. So this will do the calculation and will give us all the values. Press clear to exit. Now to get the mean and extract it separately, exit by pressing clear. Press second function, stat. This is now different. As you can see, we now see different menu 3 stat variables. This is because we did the calculation. So 3, we see the values and we want x bar or mean, which is 52.5, but if I press 2, it's here. Now you can use it within your calculation for anything else that you want. But if you want to press equal, you can see it or simply use it. Let's say you want to do this, multiply it by 2. We can do second function, this button, and then 3, and then 2 times 2. So, or if you want to store it in a variable x or y, you can do so by pressing. As soon as I press store, this value goes there, answer, which is 105, and let's say press it and store it into x. Now it has been stored and you can use it. Now let's have a look at the statistics example 2. We want to find at 45. So these are our data. Now we have, let's press data 4, clear everything. And now we have pair of data which has a frequency. This is x and y. This is a number, this is a frequency. So pairs of data, and we want to find that. Let's enter 45, 4, 5 down, and then 5, 5 down. Now go to the right, 35 down, 25 down. So this is data, this is the frequency. Now let's get some calculation. Second function, stat. And then this time, because we have two variables, press 2. You see L2 has been selected because the frequency is in L2. So L1 is data, L2 is y, and then come down to calculation, press, so the calculation is done. Press second function, quit. Now to get the value and evaluate it, x hat, and evaluate it at 45. Now you can do second function stat, second function stat, and then number 3, and then we can scroll down until you see x prime, or you could go up and get it. So now this is a value, we can evaluate it here, but this is a wrong way to do it. We have to exit from this screen, press second function stat, 3, go up, get x prime, enter. Now you see it on the clear screen. And 45, close it, and it has been evaluated, so we got the value. Now statistics example 3. We have ADAS score. We have a score 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the scores are 73, 94, 84, and 78. Question 1 is find ADA's average grade on the 4 exams. So we have to get the average of these. Number 2, Ada found an error in the 2 of her test scores. Test 2 was changed to 88 and test 4 was changed to 84. Find the Ada's new average grade. There should be an E. And the 4 exams. So press data, and 4 to clear. And we enter these values, 73, and then down 94, 84. Oh, let's go delete. 94 down, and then 84 down, and then 78 down. It has been calculated. Now second function stat, and then one variable. So we go down until we reach clear and enter, and second function quit. Now the average of is yx bar, second function stat, and 3. So this is available here. If I press, so the number is 82.25. If you want to use it, you can do that like this. Now the second part was saying that test 2 should be 88 and 4 should be 84. Now To do that, press data, the first one, the second one 88, and then down the fourth one 84. 84, and just go down, you will exit. Now let's check it. Second function stat, and we have not done the calculation. One variable, come down, do the calculation, and it is the same because the weight, the ADAS average did not change, remain the same, because in our data before at the bottom was one value, the other value, so when we changed it, it did not affect the result as we decreased one and increased the other one, and this way it did not have any effect. Now let's have a look at the braking test data. This is example number 4 for statistics. We have test 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this is the speed of vehicle at kilometer per hour, 33, 49, 65, 79, and this is the braking distance in meter. For example, test 2 shows that when a car is driving at 49 kilometer, when the vehicle was driving at 49 kilometer per hour, the braking distance was 14.5 versus at 33 kilometer per hour, which was 5.3. So almost 3 times longer distance to brake, and the car should be stopped. Let's clear the data, and 4, and use the relationship between the speed and braking distance to estimate the braking distance required for a vehicle traveling at 55 km per hour. Now, the hand-drawn scatter plot of these data points suggests a linear relationship. The TI-34 Multiview calculator uses least squares method to find the line of best fit. Y prime is equal ax squared plus b for the data in the list. So we cleared the data already, and because we don't have 55, we will see from this data, which is linear, we will find out. For L1, we enter these values, 33 down, 49 down, 65 down, 79 and down. And for L2, let's go on this line, 5.3 down, 14.15, 45 down, 20.21 down, 38.45 and down. All the data have been entered. Then let's do the calculation. Second function stat, and this time 2 variables. Let's go and click calc. It has been calculated. Now from this screen we can see for our equation we find a and b, and we will construct our equation for y prime. If I go down, we will see a and b. This is a, the coefficient or slope, and this is minus 18, that's our b. Now press second function quad and second function stat, this time 3, and get y prime. Y is at the bottom, I'm going up, so that is y prime, and we want to evaluate it at 55. Enter. Here is the answer. At 55 km per hour, the braking distance is, so the linear model gives us an estimate braking distance of 18.59 meter for vehicle traveling at 55 km per hour. Now let's have a look at the probability features of this calculator. When we press P or B, this button that we displayed, the calculator displays 2 menus, P or B and RA in D. P or B contains the following options: NPR, NCR, and the factorial. NPR is number of possible permutation, P permutation, and NCR is combination. And then factorial is, when you write 4 factorial, it's equal to 1 times 2 times 3 times 4, whatever is this value. But it cannot exceed 69, so it should be equal or less than 69. Now, example 1, how many 4-digit can we produce using number 1 to 7? For that, 7 digits we have, so PRB and then number 1, and so 7 pick 4 or permutation, so the answer is 840 numbers produced from 1 to 7. Now how to store the result into the memory? Very simple, press store and X. This value is answer, it goes to X, and now it's available if you want to use it. What is the total possible way of picking 6 balls out of 49? So this is done in a lottery in most countries. So they have 49 balls and they are picking 6. To do that, we say 49 PRB 2, that is PRB combination or choose 6. If I press enter, it's 13.98 or 14 million, approximately 14 million possibilities. To understand it better, let's say you have a room with 14 million grains of wheat or rice. Each grain has a number that represents a lottery number. Your number is also written on one of the grains, which is your lottery number. Now you ask somebody to enter the room and pick 1 grain and bring it, and you hope that he will pick yours. That is how low is your chances of winning. So do not buy lottery, your money is wasted. Purchase orange juice instead. Now let's have a look at the factorial. 4 PRB and then 3, that's factorial. Evaluate it if you want. PRB and 3, and that's the answer. It's huge. It does not fit. If I press PRB and go to the right, this menu has rand and rand end. That contains the following rand and rand end. PRB, go to the right and 1. This is generating random number if I press enter. If I press it again, it will generate another number. If you want to multiply it by some number, let's say 4 PRB and then 1 and equal, that has been multiplied continuously if I press enter. Now rand end generates random number between A and B. PRB rand and then 2. Now enter 2 to 50. 2 shift comma and 50. It generates, and if I press it again, it should print 50 and then 26, 42. So between 2 and 50. Now let's have a look at the errors. When you see an error message, press clear. The previous screen is displayed with the cursor near the location. If you see argument error, a function does not have correct number of arguments. You attempted to divide by 0 in a statistics, for example, when n is equal 1. If you see the domain error, you specified an argument to a function outside the valid range. For example, these are the examples. Equation length entry exceeds the length 80 for statistic and 47 for constant. FRQ domain, FRQ value in variable 1, the frequency domain in a statistic in variable 1 is smaller than 0 or greater than 99, you will get error because it will not accept minus and it will not accept greater than 99. Overflow, you attempted to enter or you have calculated a number out of range. If you see syntax error, command contains more than 32 pending operation or pending value, or having misspelled function, arguments, parentheses, or commas. If you see stat error, using 1 variable or 2 variable without defined data. Syntax. Data does not contain list L1 and L2. On the table, you must have list, otherwise you will get error. Memory limit more than 23 operation is performed and you are attempting something like L1 plus 3. low battery. When you see this, replace the battery. Here is the battery information. The battery is 3 volts, lithium CR2032, 225 milliampere hour. Do not leave it within a children's reach. Do not recharge. Pay attention to the plus and minus polarity. For help, call 1-800-222-1222. This is a poison control phone number. Now let's see how we can replace the battery for this TI-34. We need a star or Phillips screwdriver. Now let's just pull this up and let's get a flat screwdriver. So the battery have been soldered, and it's a 3 volt battery. Now let's check the battery. 2.992, so that's a 3 volts battery, and it has been soldered. There is no screw. As you can see, it has already been soldered, and perhaps this will just last very long and you don't need it. Then you need, otherwise if you want to replace it, then we need to desolder this 1, 2, 3 point, remove it, put a new battery on the same polarity, the same way, and solder it back. Let me show you the components under the digital magnifier. So this black is the big chip, and I'm going from the left side. This is a solar cell, and here we have one big capacitor, and these are all the resistors, capacitors. That you see. Let's go to the right. And that's it. So from here then we are coming to the battery. Let's just close it back. This area is up, the way that you're reading it. There, and let's just reset it, second function, and then 0, that's reset, 2, memory cleared, clear, and it's ready. Home page for the education is education.ti.com, and if you want to email them, education.ti.com/support, and if you want to call them toll free, 1-800-TI-CARES or this number. Thank you for watching. This was the full video instruction manual for this TI-34 Multiview scientific calculator. Please thumb up the video, and also please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. If you have comment or question, post it at the comment section below. I try to answer and reply. If you want to purchase this calculator, the affiliated links are below this video. If you purchase it, I will get some commission. It will help me. Thank you.